A Super Bowl champion.
The Green Bay Packers have won the Super Bowl.
The Packers' all-time leading scorer.
A game winner for Mason Crosby.
It's time for the Mason Crosby Show with Mitch Nellis, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers, on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, and on the free Odyssey app.
High noon, and what would I do?
No, I was just listening to you on the last segment of the show from 9 to noon. 9 to noon.
Oh, 9.
I thought it was great.
Yeah.
It
was less than great.
It was just
high noon, and welcome in. It's the Mason Crosby Show. I'm Mitch Nellis. He's Tommy Wirtz. Benjamin St. Juice is here. Nate Hobbs is gone.
Mm-hmm. I just thought of you saying, or Rami and Brandon saying, like, I could just listen to you make noise for these next 5 minutes.
That's what I do.
I love that.
Whenever they come back, they come back with hip hop. They use it says hip hop bumps.
Yeah.
And like some of them are weird. They're all instrumental.
Well, that last
kind of awkward.
Last one was Lil Wayne.
Yes.
And I feel like your hip hop genre, it doesn't quite extend all the way to Lil Wayne.
No, it does not.
But just your sweet spot. Not that you can't enjoy it.
My sweet spot is Tupac and Biggie.
Right.
I mean, it's not even
can
debatable.
I kick it? You're a tribe guy.
Right, tribe guy. Absolutely.
Yep. So I hear Lil Wayne, they're like, this one, and it's like, I mean,
right. Like I've heard it.
I've heard
that song before.
But the vibe that Mitch gets is a little older than Lil Wayne. So I think that we got to talk some Packers now.
Yep.
And I'm also listening to you in that last segment, and you still think that they could be gearing up right now.
I think they could be gearing up.
You think
I think they could be gearing up based on, and this is, I'm not a capologist. I don't know what I don't know. And there are people out there, when it comes to film, I know that Dusty Evely is the guru and I know nothing.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to capology, I know Andrew Brandt is the godfather and I know nothing.
The Godfather of Cap would be that's a great nickname for Andrew Brandt.
Isn't it?
But it's also a terrible nickname for him at the same time.
So I wonder, so as I peruse Twitter and I peruse the signings and I peruse, now I know the Nate Hobbs release isn't until June 1st.
Correct.
Right? And that's an $8 million savings or whatever it is.
They would actually save $8 million cutting him after June 1st, and they save about $800,000 if they cut him before that.
Yeah. So they're not going to officially cut him.
Correct.
Until June 1st, even though he will not be part of the team coming back. And just from obviously the redoing of Aaron Banks's contract. Who else? Didn't they renegotiate somebody else? There's somebody else they just renegotiated. I saw that saved them a little money. They didn't announce how much money it was.
Deal?
There was Banks, but then I thought there was somebody else that they just did. I don't know. Anyway, regardless, there's a lot of money there right now. There's like right now they're 31 under the cap, but they are due to be about 45 under the cap. Brendan Snide just told me that next year they're due to be about 100 million under the cap. And if the asking price for Javon Carter, Jalen Carter, who's Javon Carter?
That was the
old
point guard.
The point guard
yes.
who's on the Bulls now. Okay,
and Xavier McKinney restructured too.
Xavier McKinney, thank you. If the asking price for Jalen Carter isn't crazy, and the thought process is that it might not be crazy because you have to pay him, so that it won't be like what Micah Parsons was. It's not going to be 2 number 1s. It might be 2 number 2s, or it might be a 2 and a 3. It might be 1 and a 3 or 1 and a 4. But if it's something that the Packers can stomach, the concept of Jalen Carter on that defensive line just makes me giddy with excitement. And we are far away from there.
Yes.
We are not close to that stage yet.
And we might have a little bit of, well, now we do this every year as Packers fans, right?
Even though we do it never.
We've never done it before, but now that Micah Parsons came over, why can't Jalen Carter just come over this simply and easy? Screw them picks. Let's be the Rams. Something along those lines.
Yeah. So I think that absolutely right. Oh, the Lions are signing Pacheco. That's lame. Who cares?
Oh, he's the new Knuckles.
He's not.
He's Sonic and Knuckles.
No,
he's not. Dude, he is way more Knuckles than David Montgomery. Have you seen Pacheco run?
I have.
He's a psychopath.
Except that he's not fast.
Okay.
And so I don't think he's good. And So I think the Packers are gearing up for something. But as they gear up for something, there are moves that they're making today. There are moves that they're making yesterday. And we get the news that Benjamin St-Juste, do you assume, Tommy, that his native language is French?
Just because of his last name?
No, he's actually from Montreal.
Oh.
Born and raised in Montreal, Quebec, Canada.
Sure.
So I assume.
Yeah, maybe he dabbles in French.
He went to Montreal Cégep de Vieux High School. As you would have assumed.
Right. Yeah.
That's their big
it's
football.
More likely than Cudahy.
Right. That's their big football high school in Montreal. Like that's the one where all the football players.
You don't know that.
Could not know less about that. But he went to Michigan and Minnesota.
Yep.
He was a 3rd round draft pick of the Washington Commanders, played 4 seasons in Washington. Last year played in LA with the Chargers. Last year was mostly a special teamer. In his 4 years with Washington, his last 3 with Washington, he played in 12, started 12, played 16, started 16, played 17, started 14. Last year with the Chargers, played 16, started 2. So for whatever reason, the Chargers brought him in, but did not really view him as a full-time cornerback, or he lost that job as a full-time corner. And so he's, and I watched some film on Twitter of different people posting stuff. Like, he looks okay. It looks good. I don't know that this changes the room. I'm a little surprised that they then released Nate Hobbs, because again, on some level, the Green Bay Packers need bodies in the cornerback room, and bodies who have played NFL football before. So replacing Hobbs with St-Juste just replaces a body. It doesn't really add to that room. 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250 is the Nicolay Law Talk and Text line. Text in your thoughts on the first free agent signing of our Green Bay Packers. Quay Walker, 3 years, $40.5 million to go to the Los Angeles, Oakland, Las Vegas Raiders. So he will be a Vegas Raider at $13.5 million a year. I think that's a good number for Quay. I think that's a number the Packers were not going to pay.
Sure.
But that's about what we talked about yesterday. Like, that's about what he should go for.
He is the 7th highest paid linebacker in the NFL now.
Yeah. And and with the acknowledgement that that's all cyclical, and every year that number changes because the salary cap changes, and it's a recency bias. But that's about where he should be. Like, if he had been top 3 or even top 5, I think we would have raised our eyebrows. Top 7 seems about right for the season he had last year, and what we still believe his potential to be.
Yeah.
And we said this about Linderbaum yesterday. Like, man, the Raiders are such a mess. Like, I am surprised anyone goes to the Raiders. Like, and I know you're getting the bag, and I don't know what Quay's other offers were, but if he's getting 3 years, 39 from from the Carolina Panthers, who haven't been good, but last year got to 8-9, signed the kid from Philadelphia to be on the defensive line, the edge rusher. Like, if you're getting that from them, or another 500-ish team, like, do you need that extra $1.5 million a year, or that extra whatever the signing bonus is? Because this is really about signing bonuses. Like, why, if you're an NFL player, are you ever going to the Raiders?
Well, here's a couple other things to weigh in here. Number one, living in Vegas, right? Maybe that's something to be thrown out there compared to living in Green Bay.
You're right.
If you're that kind of pace of person.
You're right.
And on top of that, pretty sure it's a 0% state income tax as well over in Nevada. So your money goes a little bit longer.
It does
that way too. And Quay Walker absolutely need to capitalize on his bag, and I'm glad that he did.
Sure.
I still feel that I wouldn't have been upset if I heard that was the number the Packers were paying Quay Walker.
Yeah, if the Packers had signed him at $13.5 million a year,
I wouldn't have been upset.
No, I agree with you. 414-677-1250 is the Nicolay Law Talk and Text line. Fun show today. Ryan Harings, Locked on Badgers, is going to join us in the next segment. We're going to continue our deep dive into March Madness, what the Big Ten tournament is going to look like this year. Again, as I've said before, It is truly one of my favorite weeks of the year, especially as we get to Thursday and Friday. The conference tournaments I really, really enjoy. I get into. There's even more daytime basketball this week than there will be next week. As much as we love Thursday and Friday, the first 2 days of March Madness of the tournament, I love what this week does. Eric Name of The Athletic, Milwaukee Bucks beat reporter, is going to join us around 1:20-ish or so. And so we will catch up with him. I think he's at shoot-around right now. So he'll see how Giannis is feeling, how KPJ is feeling, how the rest of the squad is feeling. They've got the Phoenix Suns in town tonight. That could be another 30-point loss potentially because Phoenix is decent. They are in the playoffs. If you look at the standings in the West, the top 10 are already set. Like, they're not set in what place they are, but the gap between 10 and 11 is like 7 games, like, because Tankapalooza is real. And so all these teams, and if you are an NBA draft knucklehead or you care about this year in the lottery, there's plethora of articles out there about how, like, this draft might be 20 deep.
It's deep.
Like,
it's a deep class.
Like, there are players who, like, we've seen the Bucks over the past few years draft 18th, draft 24th, draft 27th, and not get somebody who can contribute.
Now, with that being said, it still is a little top heavy in my mind with superstars at the top. I mean,
absolutely.
I can't believe that they are not putting Boozer as the number 1 pick. I would draft Cameron Boozer number 1 overall 100 times out of 100.
But that's just the year it is. Like, he's one of 3 or one of 5 who all could go.
With that being said, talking about bus, if you were to, is Nate Hobbs maybe one of the worst signings Goody's ever made?
Yes and no. I think, I mean, what was it, like 4 for $40? But I don't know how much they paid him. I think what they end up paying him is so little that it's not really that big of a bust. I think my question, I guess, would be, where did the overrating happen? Like, how did we rate this guy that he could come in, be a starting cornerback in the NFL when clearly he couldn't, and then got hurt? And he didn't hurt Marshawn Lloyd, but wasn't he involved in the late hit in training camp?
I remember that.
Where Lloyd ended up,
he was going a little fast, right? He was going a little fast. I think it works out to about, they're going to pay him $18 million for 1 year.
That's bad.
Right. Yeah. That's what I mean.
I mean, honestly, I could do the same thing that Nate Hobbs gave you. And I would do it for 1.8.
1.8 million?
Yeah, 1.8 million to get my brains bashed in for a year, but I get to wear a helmet.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm putting the
guardian cap.
I'm putting the guardian cap.
You're a guardian cap guy.
I really am. Yeah. I really am. 414-677-1250 is the Nicolay Law Talk and text line. Ram is on the north side of Milwaukee. Ram, you're first up on the Mason Crosby Show. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, man, you covering a lot of topics.
We're all over the place today. You know what? When Mason's not here, and when I'm doing other stuff in the morning and I roll in, like, this is an old school Mitch Nellis show type of show where I just whatever's on my brain, I just go with.
How do you, Mitch? I'm going to start with the bumper music, with the rap music.
Okay.
Because I think I like some of it, but I'm a little older. But I think the older, like the rappers that like Rakim, I think it's better than the Lil Wayne stuff.
Oh, come on! If they were playing Sugar Hill Gang, I'd still be rapping.
White Lines, like that.
I'd still be going.
Remember when rappers started, they actually had guys on stage who actually playing instruments.
Of course, yep.
So
or they had actual turntables with records.
Yep. Somebody give a sheet of music and say, "Okay, rap to this."
All right, what else?
They were actually rapping about stuff that they live. Like I like Ice-T.
Yeah. No, I know. All right, Ram, what else you got?
Okay, other thing I'm gonna say is Bucks. This is my opinion. When I listen to you guys talk about free agents in the NFL, I wish the NBA would do their free agency, like reverse it. The free agents in the NBA are the only players that are going to help a team. None of these top 5 players in 3 years, if they even with the same team, can help a team win because they're going to teams that's losing. So Bulls and all them, they're not going to impact nobody in the NBA. They don't have no NBA experience. But when you talk about free agency in the NFL, I listen to you guys. Y'all talk about 1, 2 players on each side of the ball can impact the team. You know this, I know this. And I wish that the NBA would reverse that. Because when you look at free agents in the summertime, you're like, oh, where's KD going? Where does player go? They can impact the team.
Yeah.
None of these freshmen is coming out.
Ram, lots of factors that go into that. 1 of 5 versus 1 of 22 is a much bigger influence.
I totally agree.
Yeah. How superstar driven.
Who got experience in playing at that level is always going to have the edge over the guy who just getting started.
Absolutely.
And then the last thing I say is when you talk about the college basketball, man, I just love watching the mid-major teams. I always when the mid-major team makes it to the Final Four, as you know in basketball, that's just a big deal. And I really feel for those schools who people that went there, they go and travel and wear the T-shirt, all that. It's just in high school basketball too.
Yeah. All right, Ram, I love that. Thanks so much for the call. I think that's a nice shout out for the mid-majors. And listen, they are who they are. They are at this point. They've really become the minor leagues for the majors because of the transfer rules and NIL and all those sorts of things. And we'll see how the NCAA figures or doesn't figure that out. When Commissioner Mason Crosby is in charge of college sports, he will figure it out. You know he will. When him and Rick George and whatever panel they put together, man, that'd be awesome. That'd be pretty sweet.
Mason Crosby's on a panel with Rick George.
I think Mason Crosby should be on an NCAA panel.
With Greg Sankey.
Yeah. I don't know. 262 wants to know if the Raiders are getting 2025 Quay Walker or the 22 to 24 Quay Walker. I think there's a mixture. Like, we don't know.
2024 Quay Walker's not fair either.
Right.
Because 2024 Quay Walker was pretty good. Like 4 games before he got hurt and on, what you could see it. You could see Quay Walker was turning into a young football player in the NFL. And now the years before that, I get it. We talked about it yesterday. We saw him be the bonehead that he was on the field. But I will say the last year and a quarter of Quay Walker, you could see the change almost instantly overnight.
Yes. Yep. I think that's fair. But we also have no idea, as we've seen in the past, right, how guys react when they get paid. Like this is the first year of a 3-year contract in his mind, 13 and a half a year, whatever the signing bonus was. And we'll see, we'll see. And I honestly don't think that's what happened to Nate Hobbs. Like, I don't think Nate Hobbs got paid and like stopped playing. I just think Nate Hobbs stunk. And Aaron Banks couldn't get healthy until 2/3 of the way through the season.
Right.
And that's going to affect you sometimes. Like that is absolutely an issue as we continue to watch. Rasheed Walker and Romeo Doubs have not landed yet. Is that correct?
Correct.
Wow. You look at, I know I was looking at earlier today, the ESPN NFL free agency, their list of top 100 free agents we were looking at. And Trey Hendrickson has not landed. But then Linderbaum, Phillips, Pierce. All right. Then you got Rasheed Walker has not landed. Owe, the edge. Owe. Yeah. Owe. But Braden Smith, the offensive tackle from the Colts, has not landed yet. Franklin Myers has landed. Taylor's landed. Walker's landed. Rick Woolen, cornerback from the Seahawks, who's only 27.
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking Green Bay also makes a move on.
I wouldn't mind him. He has the speed and he's 6'4".
Yeah. And St. Juice is 6'3". They just went out and got a big corner.
So maybe it's a whole new revamping of the room.
Saying, right. Instead of going out and getting big hog mollies on the offensive line, going out and get big corners.
And they have on their list number 18, Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray, not technically a free agent yet. I believe he's being released tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow.
He's a Viking, right?
Gotta be, right?
He's a Viking.
Gotta be. Unless the Browns overpay and he says, okay.
But like the Browns still got to pay Deshaun this year too, man.
I know.
He's a Viking.
Gotta be.
He's a Viking.
414-677-1250 is the Nicolay Law Talk and text line. Ryan Harings, Locked On Badgers. Ryan Harings, friend of the show. We're going to talk some March Madness, some Big Ten tournament. I'm going to tell him what it was like walking into the United Center for the first ever Big Ten tournament. Orlando Tucker, Ryan
four
Butch.
scoring 7 years ago.
Man, it feels like it. That's for sure. They gave us like presents. Like we got like gifts from the Big Ten for being there. I don't think anybody's doing that anymore. I remember I was at an NCAA tournament game. I was at the Badger Oregon game at the Bradley Center. when the Badgers came back when they were the 2 seed. And I'd been in a suite. I'm going to name drop like crazy here. I'd been in a suite. I believe it was Gruber's suite and David Bakhtiari was in the suite.
Oh.
Okay. So I was in the suite for the first half and I left the suite and I knew I was media. So I went down to media row and I had a Coke, but it was in a Coke cup. It wasn't in the NCAA cup. So I go down and I sit in the second row of media and I'm drinking my cup. And an NCAA guy comes running over to me, takes my cup, pours my drink into the NCAA cup, puts it right back down in front of me, and throws away the Coke cup because you could only have the NCAA sanctioned cups on Media Row. How about that?
Media bad boy over here.
Breaking all the rules. That's right. This is the Mason Crosby Show presented by Verizon. Badger Talk coming up. This is the Mason Crosby Show. I'm Mitch Nellis. He's Tommy Wirtz. For those of you playing along at home on YouTube, we just come on every segment without any background music because we don't have the licenses to play the music on YouTube. Yesterday, we came back. I don't remember the name of the song, but it was in Thor Ragnarok when Thor's attacking everybody after he realizes he's the god of lightning and he doesn't actually need Mjolnir to be strong. He can be strong on his own. And I was singing part of the song. I definitely played it back for Mrs. Thunder yesterday. And she had a very similar reaction that you did, Tommy. She laughed and thought I was ridiculous.
Yeah, that's why she's Mrs. Thunder.
Yeah. Because she also, is that why
she's ridiculous, but she loves,
but she knows
that
I'm
you're ridiculous
right.
more than she's ridiculous.
But does it mean you're also ridiculous for laughing at my ridiculousness?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
we're in sync that way.
We're weirdos.
Yeah, we are. Joining us now on the guest hotline powered by Gruber Lot, one called That's All, Locked on Badgers, Ryan Harings on the show. Ryan, how are you, sir?
Man, I am great. Get to join you two fine gentlemen and talk some Badgers hoops. Let's go. Also, great movie scene.
Wow.
That's a tremendous movie drop.
Movie drop. Thor Ragnarok. Yeah, you weren't ready for that one.
I'm a big MCU guy, so
yeah. Mitch is all in on that as well. Ryan, I know I want to talk a little bit of some Badgers here, but I kind of want to just see if we can fire you up off the rip as well.
Here we go.
Nick Boyd's second team, all Big Ten.
No.
Yeah, that just came up.
No, that can't be real.
Yeah, I just saw that too.
How's that possible?
How's it possible, Ryan?
You know what it is? These awards are very much preseason awards, it feels like. The people who are at the top of the list, it's so hard to unseat them because voters, honestly, quite frankly, are a little lazy because Nick Boyd has gone into every point guard's house in the Big Ten this year. Everyone that is above him on that list, he's beat them all. That's what a point guard does. A point guard wins. It's like a quarterback. You win games. Not to mention the fact he's averaging 24-4, and he's absolutely unbelievable. Third in the Big Ten in 2-point field goals, by the way. They can't keep him out of the paint. It's, I think if he had started the year with more hype, he's a slam dunk first team all conference guard. Because he didn't, because people are attached to names, that's why he's not on the first team.
That is ridiculous. I mean, I think we should storm where are the Big Ten offices now? Chicago?
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah,
yes.
We should all drive down to Chicago and peacefully protest. Can we just make a sign that says "Justice for Boyd" or something like? Is that? No, I don't know. I don't know how these things work anymore. But Ryan, thanks so much for jumping on. Speaking of Nick Boyd, I know you retweeted this over the weekend. Second all time in Badger single season score, second highest total in UW history. Michael Finley scored 417 points in 92-93. Nick Boyd scored 415 points this year. So Nick Boyd will break that as soon as he scores 3 more points, correct? Now, obviously, there's more games this year, so points per game is a little skewed, but I wasn't there for the 92-93 season, but I slept outside the field house. Finley's would have been his senior season, 94-95, for Michael Finley, Tracy Webster, and Rashard Griffith, when we thought the Badgers were going to be something. It was a couple of years before they ended up actually being something. How impressive is it that with all the names, the Devin Harris, the Orlando Tucker, the Brian Butch, the Taylor, all the different Taylors, all the different guys, I mean, even John Tanji last year, that Nick Boyd is now second on this list.
Yeah, that's really well said. It's incredibly impressive when you look.
Did I mention Frank Kaminsky? I didn't even mention Frank Kaminsky.
Johnny Davis, who was a lottery pick as a guard. You can go on and on. Now, there's two things at play here. First, what Nick Boyd has done this season is incredibly impressive. Coming in, really integrating himself as a leader of this team on a team that had leaders, Blackwell, Winter, guys like that. What he's done from that standpoint as a point guard is incredibly impressive. And then he also got to go to great guard, coach guard. These players don't just come to Wisconsin and magically get better by themselves. This is a career year for Nick Boyd, just like it was a career year for John Tanji, just like it was a career year for AJ Storr, just like Johnny Davis became a lottery pick in 2 seasons. What Great Guard has done is he's built a system that allows him to identify talent somewhere, plug it into this system, and that talent just flourishes. So all credit to Nick Boyd, who's been phenomenal, just unbelievable. And then it also is just a perfect mesh with what Greg Gard has built here. And I don't think Greg Gard gets enough credit for this one thing. If you remember, obviously you guys do, and the people listening to the show do, you take over for Bo Ryan, who had a certain system. That was your mentor. It takes a lot of chutzpah to switch everything up and say, I'm going to do something different. And it's worked tremendously well. He should get a ton of credit for this as well.
Well, and
hold on. Before you ask your question, we got to go to chutzpah.
Yeah, I thought I heard that, and I thought Mitch Nellis.
Yes, great use of the Yiddish there, Ryan. Yeah. Nicely done with the old school Yiddish there.
And specifically this season, Ryan, talk about 2025-26 Greg Gard, because it always feels like we're in this constant loop of Greg Gard of, at the beginning of the year, everyone's uncertain. Then it gets to a point where it's like, fire Greg Gard. Then it's, oh my gosh, they might be impressive. And then a catastrophic loss happens at some point, and we're right back in this same loop. Or do you feel like we could be breaking some sort of cycle with what Greg Gard has done with this team in 25-26?
Man, that's a great question. And you're totally right. And we're one bad loss in March away from being right back on that roller coaster, to your point.
Yeah.
They drop a game first weekend, gosh forbid, or in the round of 32, they don't look great. We're right back on that roller coaster. But I do think we have to be careful. You look at what football did. You have to be careful not fully appreciating what you do have. This team's going to finish 14-6 in the Big Ten this year, and this is a monstrous Big Ten. This is, Bo Ryan always finished in the top 4, which was incredible. Finishing 5th in this version of the Big Ten is akin to that. This is an incredible job by Greg Gard, and he went to Purdue, beat them on senior night with one guy from last year's team on the court because Nolan Winter was hurt. Everybody else was new, so he has taken a brand new roster, essentially built around Blackwell. Has 3 of the best road wins in the country, if not the 3 best road wins in the country, with a completely rebuilt roster. What he's done is incredible. But to your point, now you got to at some point, you have to make a run in March. You have to get back to at least the Sweet 16. So I think we're still on that roller coaster until he makes that March run. But I'm firmly in the camp of Greg Gard's a really good coach, and we need to be careful about looking a gift horse in the mouth a little too much, because we've been guilty of that in other spots.
We absolutely have. Ryan Harings joining us, Locked On Badgers, at Ryan and Bucky on the Twitterverse. And I think it's interesting to, because I think most Badgers fans would be happy with second weekend. Would we love a win in the Sweet 16? Sure. But to get to the Sweet 16 this year as a probable 6 seed means you're probably beating a 3 seed, which, it feels a lot better than last year as a 3 seed losing to a 5 seed, maybe even a 4 seed. BYU got the 6 seed because they couldn't play on Sundays, not because they were a 6 seed. So they were a wrongly seeded team last year, and the Badgers got the short end of that as well. Bigger picture when it comes to Greg Gard and kind of the transition he's made with this program post Bo Ryan and obviously Dick Bennett before him. Part of what we've seen with Nick Boyd and why he has these numbers is because the team is scoring so much more. I mean, we went through years of if the Badgers got to 60, they were going to win because they were locking everybody down. And if they got to 70, it was a big deal. And they got to 80 maybe once a year. Now, that magic number is what, 77? Like, they don't lose if they score more than 77 points in a game. Like, talk about that mindset of this is not the same old Badgers. And even though it's not been the same old Badgers for a few years now, I think it's taken till now for especially the old heads like me to figure that out.
Yeah, that's a great point. This is, again, where, not to beat the dead horse, I'm going to go back to Greg Gard for a second, because if you're going to play this style of ball, and Greg Gard was a disciple of Bo Ryan, both are control freak type coaches. When Greg Gard first started, Bo Ryan, you remember when Tam Decker had a turnover? This was one of the most decorated players and was
immediately out of the game every single time.
You're done. And Bo Ryan was that type of coach for a reason. He needed to control everything, and he was incredible at it. That's where Greg Gard started. If you're going to play this type of ball where you're going to get a lot of shots up, you're going to play fast, you have to live with player mistakes. And that's, again, where a spot where Greg Gard has said, some turnovers I'm going to live with, some bad shots I'm going to live with. It takes a lot of egoless coaching to be able to change who you are as a coach and allow players to play through mistakes. That has given the players a level of freedom that they've never had before in Wisconsin in the Bo Ryan era. Not for better or worse. Again, Bo Ryan was a Hall of Fame coach. but they play with more freedom now because Greg Gard has allowed them to do that. And because of that, you have this free-flowing offensive system. And then when you take a guy like Nick Boyd, who could get into the tiniest of crevice in the paint, and then you surround him with 4 shooters at all times. That's the dilemma defenses have with the Badgers. When the 4s are hitting 3s, Rapp, Bialuskis, you have Winter, you have Blackwell, you have Carrington. You can't help off anybody now. I always use the analogy, defenses are like rubber bands. You want to stretch them to the point where they break. And that's what the Badgers have done offensively. They stretch defenses, and then Nick Boyd just attacks the paint. It's a merciless attack at this point, and you have to be really good defensively to stop it.
Ryan Harings, Locked On Badgers, joining us here on the Mason Crosby Show. Now let's get into this Big Ten tournament, Ryan. They have the first round bye. They don't have the double bye because they don't finish in the top 4. I'm terrified for the first round. I feel like after the first game, I think it's like, all right, let's go. And now Greg Gard, again, to his point, great track record in the Big Ten tournament, has done a fantastic job in the Big Ten tournament over the years. But that USC Washington game, whoever wins that, I mean, the Badgers already have a terrible loss to USC this year.
That classic Big Ten
matchup. Big Ten
USC Washington
between USC and Washington. Why should I feel better about the Badgers going up against those two teams in that first round versus maybe feeling a little timid about what could happen in the Big Ten after that?
Well, you shouldn't. I'll just be honest. You probably shouldn't, because this is a team that plays down. Listen, at this point, you are who you are. You know, Tigers don't change their stripes. This is a team that plays down to their level of opponent. They've done it all year. This is also a team that plays up to their level of opponent. They've done that all year. Washington or USC beats the Badgers or gives them a game in the first matchup. That wouldn't surprise me at all, because that's who this team has been all year. And I'll be honest, I think I might be on an island on this, and that's totally cool. The Big Ten tournament to me is not a big deal. I always cheer for the Badgers if they're in it. I think there's a component with this team that the rest is more important than the Big Ten tournament run. And it means getting your guys rested up. It means, I also don't think if you win a couple games, you're moving up the seed line. Now, if you were battling to get into March, the Big Ten tournament's a big deal. I get that. I think this team is a 6, maybe a 5 if you go on a deep run in the Big Ten tournament. Is a 5 worth 3 or 4 physical Big Ten games where your 4s are getting beaten up, Boyd's getting beaten up, Blackwell's getting beaten up. Maybe you're trying to press Winter into action when he's not ready. To me, win the first game if you can, because you don't want to leave a bad taste in the committee's mouth, and then respectfully bow out. I know that's kind of a loser mentality, but I want the rest going into March. March to me is the ultimate goal.
I'm with you. I want that 1 win. I want 1 win, and then I'm totally good. And we know that the Badgers would match up with Illinois. We know they've already won at Illinois. They don't have anything to prove by winning that 5-4 matchup in the Big Ten tournament. I don't think they need to get there. But with all that said, and with the rest that we're talking about, what is the current status of Nolan Winter?
So it sounds like Greg Gard had some really positive things to say about Nolan Winter. It's interesting, though. You got to parse it, right? Coach speak is at times like politician speak. You got to parse what they say. Mm-hmm. And he said, we'll definitely be ready for March. He didn't say we'll be 100%. He didn't say Nolan Winter is going to be great. Be ready for March can mean a lot of different things. Is it 20 minutes of Nolan Winter? Now, I did hear something pretty positive off to the side from somebody that kind of I talked to. It sounds like he's doing well. They avoided the worst case scenario. In no circumstance would I play him in the Big Ten tournament at all. In no circumstance am I testing that, even if he thinks he can go. I think as a coach, you got to protect your players from themselves. I think Nolan Winter is going to play in March. I think we're going to get him in those games. I don't think you're going to get the 100% version of Nolan Winter, unfortunately.
And how does that weigh into your thoughts now about this Badger team? Because also we've been seeing Austin Rapp coming around here and thinking maybe this guy's the most important dude to this Badger team down the stretch.
That's a great take. I actually think Rapp and Bialuskis, I think those are the X factors on the team, because when those two guys shoot well, this team wins. Go to Michigan, they shoot well, this team wins.
If they make their threes, exactly.
Yep. If those guys shoot well, we win. That being said, Nolan Winter is your rebounder. He is your anchor. He is your guy that gives you something in the paint. He's your rim runner. One of the most remarkable things about Nolan Winter, and I was breaking this down earlier in the year, watch what he does when the Badgers get a defensive rebound. His first 2-3 steps are sprinting to the other side of the court. He is an unbelievable, unselfish big man who could, quite frankly, he shoots 57% from the paint. there's big men that would pout because they don't get enough shots. Nolan Winter is a team first guy, huge culture guy, but he gives his team isn't replaceable by Rapp or Bielewskis. That being said, if you can get 80% Winter with the way those fours are playing, this team can make a run, but you at least need a relatively good version, in my opinion, of Nolan Winter to make a run into March. If you don't get that because of injury, because of whatever, I just don't. I think it just hurts this team tremendously.
Name we haven't brought up here, and we did kind of, in hindsight, saying the only man who was on the court from last year that was now on the court this year, John Blackwell coming back this year. How important was that, do you think, for this Badger team? Because he seems to be the guy that they're giving the shot at the end of the game, and last year that was Tanji, and this year, even though Boyd is putting up the more high-volume scoring numbers, this Badger team and Greg Gard, they still have a lot of faith in John Blackwell and rely on him down the stretch. It feels like game in and game out. Maybe the most important player on the team.
And real quickly, I want to piggyback on what Tommy just said. How important has it been that he has been able to give the reins to Nick Boyd a little bit when he was, probably expected to be the clear number one of this team? He's more like the 1B and maybe sometimes the 2 of this team. And how important has that been for team chemistry?
Yeah, both really good points. I'll start with the latter. It speaks to the culture that this team has. And I think in the portal era, being able to build culture is the separator between teams. Unless you can spend $30 million, it's something Greg Gard's been able to do as well. These players come in, they buy into the culture. Again, go through the litany of them that we've named. Blackwell upholds that culture. Nolan Winter upholds that culture. Those guys that are carryovers help build that culture of the Badgers. That way, when transfers come in, this is something Kamari McGee, I talked to him last year, and he said, when the new players come in, we tell them about the culture. It's not a mercenary thing at Wisconsin. It's a culture thing. And I think that is what Blackwell embodies, being able to hand some of that off to Boyd. I think it's really important, and it's a great point. In terms of the importance, yeah, tremendously important. And I'll tell you, some Badger fans at times this year have been a little frustrated with Blackwell, and you look up at the stat line, he's averaging 20 a game. And it just speaks to how good he is that Badger fans were expecting maybe even a little bit more. The thing with Blackwell, when he's out there, he changes defense rotations. The reason Braden Carrington gets so many great looks is because teams are loaded up on Boyd and Blackwell. It's that duo that creates mismatches for teams that force them to load up, and that creates the shot for those fours, for those Braden Carrington threes, for those Nolan Winter rolls. So from a gravity standpoint, defensive matchup standpoint, he's tremendously important because teams treat him, to your point, they treat him like a 1A, 1B, but he's treated like a top-tier scorer, and it opens everything up for everybody else.
Ryan Harings, Locked On Badgers, joining us here on the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon. We only got about a minute left. Anything football you want to get to, you want to leave us with? I know that there's definitely some excitement. An in-state recruit? Is that even possible? Is that legal? Are they allowed?
Whoa.
Are they allowed to do that, Ryan?
Yeah, apparently they are. They've been loading up in state. They're not going to be done there. There's a couple offensive linemen that I think are still going to commit. They've done a really good job early in this 27 class is loaded, by the way, in state. There's going to be 10 to 12 D1 guys, multiple D2 guys. The Badgers look like they're going to get 7 or 8 of them, to be honest.
Let's go.
Maybe even 9.
Let's go.
Yeah. And here's the thing. It's a great point that you're bringing up, because I think you don't need to get every in-state player, but I think you need a contingent of them.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. They build culture.
Right.
They're the culture guys. So look for that. And then really quickly, spring ball's coming. The quarterback competition is going to be a ton of fun. Obviously, Colton Joseph, but watch for that backup spot. It's not a guarantee that a guy like Deuce, who came in from Louisville, is going to be the backup. I've heard good things about Carter Smith. Really excited to see how that quarterback rotation starts to shake out.
Are you headed down to Chicago for the Big Ten tournament?
I won't make that one, but I will be down in some of the spring practices. I plan to get to some of those. So.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, we will catch up with you during spring football, and thank you so much for jumping on. This was great, Ryan.
Appreciate you guys.
You bet. Ryan Harings, Locked On Badgers. Follow all his stuff, Locked On Badgers. Ryan and Bucky does an awesome job covering the basketball team, the football team, other teams as well. We didn't have a chance to get to any of the other sports today, but we certainly will with him as things move on. He's Tommy Wirtz. I'm Mitch Nellis, a.k.a. Thunder. You're listening to the Mason Crosby Show. Eric Name coming up in the 1 o'clock hour. We'll get our we can all collectively
Bucks therapy session
or throw up session or whatever it is. And get to that. We'll keep our eyes on the NFL free agency frenzy day 2 as well. Some more kicker news. Kai Fairborn, the highest paid kicker currently, not for long, but currently in the NFL. This is the Mason Crosby Show. This is the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers. Our thanks for Ryan Harings jumping on the guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. I'm Mitch Nellis. He's Tommy Wirtz.
Mitch, trust tree? Are we in the trust tree right here?
Are we in the circle of trust? Are we? What?
I pulled my back standing today.
Did you sneeze?
No.
Did you cough?
I'm telling you.
Were you chewing?
I woke up this morning and was fine.
Ready to take on the world.
Went through my morning. I went to the bathroom. I got dressed. And then in my kitchen, I don't even know what I was doing in there, looking for something, gathering something. And my back just felt like I got stabbed.
When you got dressed?
No.
Or did you feel anything?
I was going to walk out the door. And it was probably 30 minutes after I woke up, I was going to leave, and then my back hurts.
Did you do anything last night? Did you lift anything heavy? Did you move anything?
No.
Anything because I'm sore under my arm, but I pitched for an hour softball on Sunday, so I know why I'm sore.
But I was in zero pain waking up this morning.
How old are you?
Yeah. I know.
What is going on?
Dude. And I just
went home,
pounded some acetaminophen.
Call Charlie. There. Get him in at 1 o'clock. You go. No. You need to rest for about 3 or 4 days. Yeah, you need to go rest for about 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, the Crosby regimen.
Exactly. We got a lot more to get to. We're gonna get a little loopy. We're gonna talk about some sports postseasons, favorite times of the year when we come back. Eric Name coming up in the 1 o'clock hour as well. This is the Mason Crosby Show.
A Super Bowl champion.
The Green Bay Packers have won the Super Bowl.
The Packers' all-time leading scorer.
A game winner for Mason Crosby.
It's time for the Mason Crosby Show with Mitch Nellis, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers, on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, and on the free Odyssey app.
Welcome into hour number 2 of the Mason Crosby Show. I'm Mitch Nellis. He's Tommy Wirtz. This Friday, as I go through puberty, apparently again, this Friday, I will be broadcasting from WNFL in Green Bay.
Oh,
yeah,
big time.
I'm excited for that. I expect at some point to get to Wausau and to get to Duluth Superior. On all of our affiliates here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Going up to Green Bay on Friday because the Whitefish Bay girls basketball team in action in the state tournament. Division 2. Division 1, by the way, is stacked. It's like Arrowhead, Pewaukee, number 1 Tosa East.
That's a fun trip because I've made the exact trip when I was a junior in high school. The Cudahy girls basketball team made it to state on a ridiculous run, by the way. That was
runs happen.
Made it to the state final, lost to Beaver Dam. Beaver Dam always good.
So Beaver Dam is the 4 seed. Yep. They will be there. Bay is the 2 seed. So Beaver Dam playing Rice Lake. Yeah. Rice Lake also always
they good. Were up. The Cudahy was up 10-0 to start the game too, and then lost. I know it was brutal. Yeah. It was brutal. That's frustrating. The Resch Center, awesome with what they do up there for the girls basketball tournament, and it was a 2-day event for us. It was a blast. It's cool to get off of school for it, even though I say go to school. Like support your local high school.
Right, that's a good reason to be off of school because it's school related.
Yeah.
Today, the kids are all home because the juniors are taking the ACT. So I don't love that because, like, they're out to lunch right now. They went downtown. Like, come on. I just got the text from Big Rumble. Hey, can you pay for parking? Because I have the MKE parking app on my phone, of course. So she's like, can you pay for our parking? And,
Dad of the year.
Yeah, let's go.
Dad of the year. That's all we had to say.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a good time of year, Mitch.
It's
a great time of year for the high school tournaments. It's March Madness kicking off here.
Yep.
Is it the best sports month of the year?
No.
But it's close.
Yeah, I mean, we have this discussion every year. Like baseball, football starts in September. So is it then? Baseball, I mean, it's March this year, but I'd say it's typically April.
Okay.
So we argue for April, or is it October when football is going, college football is going, and you have the baseball playoffs and you have the NBA tipping off. There's I don't think you can argue for all the months. March is certainly one of the months you can argue for because of March Madness. I don't know that I have a favorite month. I don't know that I have a favorite sports month. Like, and I'm not trying to be like vanilla here or milk toast or whatever the kids say these days. The kids don't say milk toast.
They don't say that. Yeah.
Did you say milk toast?
They say chutzpah. That's what they say.
They do not say chutzpah. Did you say milk toast when you were a kid?
Never. Is that a thing? Never once. Nope. I'm just saying this because of the postseason nature of March Madness. I think it is almost unmatched, right? It's almost silly in a way where it's these single elimination of a sport that traditionally at the professional level has series elimination, and maybe it always is the best team wins in those type of scenarios. Now with March Madness, you get all the storylines, right? There's going to be some dude from High Point or from ridiculous college that has the Jack Golke's type stories that you didn't expect to see anything. And then it takes the entire country by storm during this. And you can't have it in any other sport, it feels like, or any other postseason. And I think that's why it's the best.
Did you have it in the Olympics? Is that because it's once every 4 years? Do you have a little bit more of that human interest coming out of nowhere story in the Olympics? Or is it because we only care about the Americans? Like we don't, although the figure skater, like her story was crazy.
Right. Ilya was a good story, right? Well, all throughout the Olympics.
Until it wasn't.
The Coreys.
Right, the Coreys.
I think that
those are good ones.
Maybe it rivals it, but the grand stage of everyone fills out a bracket at work. Right. Everyone.
I got asked this morning. Hey, Mitch, where are the brackets? And I'm like, I didn't do the bracket.
And the preparation, right? Like everyone loves this week too, conference tourney week, if you're all in on that. And everyone pays attention to Selection Sunday that comes into this
not
postseason.
As much as we used to. I feel like Selection Sunday was a bigger deal when it was like, I mean, I remember having a notepad and a pen and writing down everything. Now, of course, everything's immediately on your phone. It's immediately on available electronically.
I can remember
I feel like it's not quite as exciting as it used to be when you really had to pay attention to who was going where and where you were seated. And if you didn't write it down, you weren't getting it till the paper the next day.
I can remember. So the Big Ten tournament, is it still always the last game? Is the Big Ten championship always the last game before Selection Sunday?
Unfortunately.
No, I love that part of it.
Right,
actually.
Except that it screws it often screws the team that wins the Big Ten tournament.
Right.
The Badgers have been screwed by it.
Well, I remember watching the 2015 year with Decker and Kaminsky and Koenig and Hayes and Gasser and all of them, and being at the bar, watching the Badgers win the Big Ten championship. Were you old enough to be at
the bar in 2015?
I wasn't drinking, but I was at the bar. And we ended up like racing back to my dad's house to watch Selection Sunday.
Okay.
Like, because it was like we're kind of late for a 15-year-old to be at a bar watching the last game of the year. But we'll take you after we watch Selection Sunday.
Okay.
And the Badgers all stood up, did one clap, and then sat back down. They didn't celebrate.
Right.
Like it was just that was it. And that was everything. And I love the Big Ten championship being the last game. Watching it, especially if the Badgers are in it, just that interest that goes to it. And I don't think you get that with really any other sporting event or any other sport in America.
That is unique. Like the concept of Selection Sunday leading into the NCAA tournament is absolutely unique to March Madness and what the NCAA has created. And it is fantastic. And they're trying to figure out more. Like, do they go from 68 to 96? Do they go from 68 to what would be the number in between that to 80? Do they go, what do they do next? Because there are teams every year that deserve to get in that don't. There are teams every year probably that don't deserve to get in.
I don't agree with that. If you don't deserve to get in, the only time I can think of a first 4 game mattering was UCLA a few years ago.
Okay.
And that was I think they made a Final Four run out of it.
They did.
And that was an awesome story. I get it. But how often does Dayton mean absolutely nothing? It should show you by throwing it in Dayton, right? Like they don't care about anything there.
Right. They need to get rid of that. Like that is an absolute joke. They need to either go to 80 or 96 and have them in sites where people will go to those games because the Dayton experiment is broken and terrible. And my argument about the Dayton experiment that I'll argue about next week is that it shouldn't be, none of the 16 should have to go to Dayton.
I agree.
Like if you win
your tournament, you're in the tournament.
Exactly. You should get to play in the tournament.
Should
not
be all the 11 seeds.
Right.
Yes.
Not a stupid Tuesday night game in Dayton. Who wants to go to Dayton on a Tuesday night?
Right.
I mean,
completely agree.
There's a lot of rom-coms out there about like, hey, they pick a girl up and they're like, hey, we're going to Dayton. Yeah, let's go.
Now,
oh wait, there aren't.
Looking ahead at this tournament, where would you put it as far as postseason rankings for your enjoyment as just a fan? Right. Let's eliminate.
Right.
Hey, the Packers are in, the Brewers are in, the Bucks are in.
Yep.
I don't know if there's a better postseason tournament than March Madness.
There might not be, and part of it is what you already said. It's that it's one and done, and we don't have. Like baseball's not one and done. Hockey's not one and done. NBA's not one and done. NFL's not one and done. College football.
Well, the NFL is one and done.
Oh, I'm sorry. The NFL is one and done. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So So football is the classic one and done sport, right? Man, should the Super Bowl be 2 out of 3?
Oh God, no. That's a terrible idea. Terrible idea.
Imagine if
I hate this idea.
All right. Anyway. So that is certainly part of it. You know what I love that I think is underrated? The opening round of Major League playoffs. When you have like noon, 3, 6, and 9. You have staggered starts, but you have a full day of baseball. I think that's what we love. We love full day of something.
I was just going to
makes
say,
it special.
Putting something in the middle of the day does something, right? Like it's not, and maybe that's another old man take I have here.
But that's fun.
But I love a good Sunday night football or a, high profile playoff game.
Sure.
When the Super Bowl was at 5:30 this year, I was like, that was awesome. That was awesome, right? I mean, it's going to be a 4-hour thing.
It's not 7:15, you mean?
Yes, right. Like I don't have to go to bed immediately after the Super Bowl. I can decompress after watching a Super Bowl. Even the hockey game was at 8 a.m. this morning, right?
Right.
Everyone got up and was ready, and now the entire day felt like it was ahead of you, and you were in a juiced up mood.
It also helped because we won.
Yes,
right.
Yes.
Like if we had lost that, it would have been
maybe
a
it
little
can ruin your whole day. Good.
Yeah, my Sunday was ruined this past Sunday because I lost in my playoff game in my rec league, and we should not have lost. Although maybe we should have. 414-677-1250 is the Nicolay Law Talking text line. 414-677-1250. With March Madness coming, what is the most exciting postseason? I think the NFL playoffs are phenomenal. I think the college football playoffs are not. I love Major League Baseball playoffs. And maybe that's like because I love baseball as a kid, and I'm still somewhat romantic about Major League Baseball. I'm still somewhat romantic about how LCS games used to be played during the day. And I think that was special when LCS games. I don't think I'm old enough to remember World Series games being played during the day, but I've certainly read enough of my history with Mickey Mantle and Sandy Koufax about baseball games being played during the day as well. So I'm romantic about that. I'm absolutely romantic and excited about NHL playoff games that go into overtime.
Yeah,
because there's something special to those games as well.
Hockey,
but I don't think hockey playoffs in general are at the same level, but a playoff game that goes to overtime, especially a game, you say game 7 overtime, and everybody stops and tunes in, whether you're a hockey head or not.
Well, and that's golden goal, right? That's sudden victory right there.
And it could go for 4 overtimes.
Yeah.
Like it could go forever.
And we saw it again with the Olympics with hockey on how high pressure everything was, because that was a mix of this is playoff hockey atmosphere with one and done attached to it.
And they went 3-on-3. The NHL goes 4-on-4. 3-on-3 almost guarantees there's going to be a goal.
Yeah.
And it's happening soon. 4-on-4 is a little more like it's not quite. And I don't know if I actually don't know if NHL playoffs is 4-on-4 or if it's 5-on-5. I know NHL regular season is 4-on-4. But when the Olympics went 3-on-3, you knew you weren't getting double overtime. You weren't getting triple overtime. They were getting rid of these games because there's going to be an open player. There's going to be so much room and space on that ice that you were getting a goal.
Yeah.
But 4-on-4, obviously, there's a little less room, but there's more room than 5-on-5. 5-on-5, you could go for hours. I mean, I remember years where like Pittsburgh and Philly would play 4 overtimes or 5 overtimes. It's like 2 a.m. I'm like, I don't even care about these teams, and I need to go to bed, but I can't. I am glued to this television.
Imagine if they did that in college basketball. If a game went to overtime, and they were just like 3-on-3 half court.
And it's sudden death?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. If you or maybe it's like 1st to 10.
Or like Elam, like an Elam number.
Right.
I like that.
1st to 10.
I like the 1st to something number.
Really?
I like that concept. Yeah, because every time we've seen it, whether it's in the $1 million tournament with the college kids who used to play, or even in the NBA, like people try harder at the end of that game.
Yeah.
Like you want to prevent the other team from getting to that number. Like it whether it's manufactured and it's fake, it creates the impression of immediacy, and you have to show up and play.
Well, it's the only sport that doesn't, really. Yep. I mean, baseball, you can hit the walk-off, right? And football, it's now they do it where each team gets a possession, but after that, then it becomes sudden victory. And hockey, it always has been. So I just wanted to bring up the conversation.
Yeah, it's a fun one for
March Madness being an elite playoff atmosphere compared to anything else. And I don't know if you've seen this yet, but there are only 5 teams that can win the tournament based on the KenPom trajectories.
Is that
always
right?
Happen. Yes.
Okay, I've not seen that.
So do you want me to? Should we wait until afterwards, and I should save it because it's not quite done yet? But as of right now, So Ken Palm always says it's like you have to finish in the top 23 of each one of those statistics, offensive efficiency and defensive efficiency. The Badgers are not on it. That's all I'll say.
There are, let's see, 1, 2. Oh, there's only 3 games going on right now. It's still Tuesday. So a little bit of a slow start to our basketball game. Pittsburgh's playing Stanford right now in the ACC. Baylor's playing Arizona State right now in the Big 12, and Alcorn State, Prairie View A&M in the SWAC. But as I scroll through the number of games, there's just a ton of games today, and tomorrow things really pick up.
I got some breaking news.
Oh, okay.
Romeo Dobbs to the Patriots.
Really?
Yes.
I don't hate it.
I know you don't. I know you don't. You get to stay a Romeo guy.
I do. The Raiders are sending Geno Smith to the Jets. Geno Smith in a 7th round pick for very little. The offensive lineman from the Colts, the guy who was
Braden.
Yeah, he got signed by the Texans, but only like a 2-year, $25 million deal. Not what was expected. I don't know how that's going to affect Rasheed Walker. We're still on Rasheed Walker watch. But Romeo Dobbs to the New England Patriots. Eric Name of The Athletic. Literally, as we all know, Eric Name and Jim Ozarski are like the 2 guys to talk to when it comes to the Milwaukee Bucks. What's going on? And I'm just going to ask him. Like, I'm going to say, like, Eric, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know what to cheer for. I don't know what to cheer against. I don't know who I want to play. I don't know who I don't want to play. I don't know. Like, it's been so long. I don't know. This is just so bizarre what's going on with our Bucks right now. I don't even know. Fire everybody, fire nobody. I mean, don't fire nobody. But
I did a quick little Photoshop of what Geno Smith might look like with the Jets.
Yeah. Just
in case.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Sad Geno. That looks like sad Geno.
It's just a stock photo from when he was there.
Right. Is it? Sad Geno
first
back to
look
the Jets.
of Geno Smith in his Jets uniform right here.
Yeah. First ever look of Geno Smith in a Jets uniform. Eric Name of The Athletic coming up next here on the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon. This is the Mason Crosby Show presented by Verizon. Mitch Nelson, Tommy Wirtz with you. Mike Wall going to be on at 2:20. Riley Nowakowski at 3 o'clock on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer. An action-packed show. Romeo Dobbs, 4 years, $70 million with the New England Patriots. As Tommy predicted correctly on yesterday's show, in one more year than Malik Willis got, Romeo Dobbs would get more money than Malik Willis. You correctly predicted. Nailed it. You know,
I say a lot of dumb stuff on the air, but when I saw the Malik Willis number, I thought Romeo's going to get more than that. And the Alec Pierce number actually is probably what got me a little bit closer to it. But when I saw the mix of Alec Pierce getting his 4-year 116 and Malik Willis getting 3 years 67, I thought Romeo's got to be in between those two, which I did not think going into this free agency.
We still have Rasheed Walker. We're still on Rasheed Walker watch for who we assume will be a former Packer. He's not coming back. Joining us now on the guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. Our good friend from The Athletic, Eric Name. Eric, how are you today?
I am well.
Good to hear. I kind of want to just hand the mic to you and lie down on the couch for about 7 or 8 minutes. I have no idea what to ask. I have no idea what to think. I have no idea if everyone should get fired today or during the offseason, or some should get fired and some shouldn't. If some players should come back, who should be playing, who shouldn't be playing, who's actually hurt, who's listed on the report and isn't actually hurt. I have no idea what to make of our Milwaukee Bucks right now, Eric.
Yeah, that's fair. This is not a position that the Milwaukee Bucks have been in since I've been covering the team at The Athletic, certainly. I'm trying to think how far back. Probably 15, 16. That'd be the last time you saw the Bucks have under 500 season, not make the playoffs. So, yeah, it's been almost, that's 10 years. So it's been 10 years since you've had to think about these things and watch a team play as poor basketball as this year's team.
Yeah. So with that said, and I think I went through the schedule yesterday and I predicted them to go 5-14 the rest of the way. Which, they're at this weird place where tanking won't really help. They can't really catch the teams that are worse than them, but trying to win can't really help because they can't really catch Charlotte or Atlanta. So if you were running the team, if you're John Horst, what do you tell Doc Rivers? What do you tell your players? What do you tell yourself that of what needs to be the priority for this team right now?
In my opinion, it should only be thinking about what is going to be here in the future or what you think is important for your future. So just kind of looking at the cap sheet, I think the Milwaukee Bucks are always going to try to keep Giannis. So, all right, let's make sure that the basketball that's being played while Giannis is on the floor is the best basketball possible. I would assume that means Miles Turner's on the floor as much as possible with him. Throughout the year, Giannis, the best two-man combination for much of the season has been him and Miles Turner. So make sure that he's out there on the floor with Miles Turner. AJ Green, that's a player that's also had a very good, net rating with Giannis on the floor. So make sure that he's out there. I think when Giannis is playing, and we'll see, obviously he missed the back-to-back the other night. I would guess that'll probably be the case for the remaining back-to-back this season. It'll be 1 or 2. But when he's playing, you got to think about those things moving forward. So to me, if you're looking at what this team could be next year, it's Ryan Rollins starting at point guard. It's AJ Green at shooting guard. It's maybe Ousmane Dieng at small forward. It's Miles Turner at center, and it's Giannis at power forward. So start thinking about next year and make sure that these reps this year are getting you closer to what you want to be next year, and they're not being wasted because, yeah, like you said, can you move around a little bit? Sure. I think, if you look at the Tankathon standings, they're about a game and a half away from the Bulls, 4 games away from the Memphis Grizzlies, and then 6.5 games away from the Dallas Mavericks. So they're probably not catching anyone in the bottom 7. But 8 and 9, Memphis and Chicago, okay, maybe in that range, it might pay to lose a game or two. But those two teams have been trying to lose longer than you. And frankly, they've been better at it. So I don't know if you're going to catch them. And conversely, like you said, I don't think they have it in them to play consistent, sustained basketball to catch the Charlotte Hornets.
Right.
So you're probably not making the play-in. So all it has to be is like those reps have to be good. There is no substitute for NBA game reps. Even the NBA game reps that come after the All-Star break that feature some teams tanking, some teams, coasting down the stretch because they're in good playoff position. It might not be, like the most serious of basketball, but you should be playing serious basketball and getting the most out of those moments.
Well, and Eric, I mean, it feels like the Bucks are in the worst case scenario of any team in the NBA right now. You can't even find yourself to get a moral victory out of a play-in, and tanking is not, like, as we just laid out, really in the best interest right now for the Bucks up until maybe, like you said, maybe 8 picks or later in this. How do they go about the rest of this season to help out for next season, specifically surrounding Giannis, right? Because is there an argument to say, hey, we need to shut you down, we need to shut this down and try to get good reps out of these guys we feel are going to be a part of this team next year, or they still have to prove that they are all in and going all out? Because Giannis can't be oblivious to the point of this team can't be going anywhere this season.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's always, if the goal is to keep him here long term, which I think is always going to be in the Bucks' best interest, is making sure Giannis continues to play for the Milwaukee Bucks. You got to make sure that you're on the same page as him. And if he wants to play, then all right, let's play and let's get the most out of it. If at some point he's like, this is all useless to me and I don't even want to be a part of it, okay, then you can go ahead and like sit him down. But to this point, Giannis has shown that he wants to be on the floor. Like after he missed all those games, he wants to be back on the floor and he wants to be playing. So you have to maximize what it is that he wants, because to me, the only thing that matters is that relationship, right? And going forward, what you want to do. And I know that means there are some people out there that are like, well, you're going to trade him in the off season anyways, so make sure he's healthy and you can get as much for him as humanly possible. And that's fair if you believe that you want to trade Giannis Antetokounmpo. And I don't think that is what the Milwaukee Bucks want to do. So you have to make sure that your relationship is as good with Giannis as possible. So if he wants to keep playing, then let's do it. Let's go out there and make sure in those moments that I think you're showing him what the future can be. So if he's someone that believes in Ousmane Dieng, and he said a number of, very positive things about him, make sure that he gets to play with Ousmane and they start to develop some chemistry. If, AJ Green's someone that he's always loved playing with. Okay, make sure you develop that chemistry. Miles Turner, it was brought in here to get the most out of Giannis and to maximize Giannis. So make sure that you're getting Miles Turner out there. And I think over the last, couple of weeks, we've seen Doc Rivers close with Jericho Sims. And while Jericho has gotten better this year, I don't think that is in the best interest of the Milwaukee Bucks to keep pushing Jericho when over the years, the numbers with him and Giannis have always been bad because he's not a floor spacer. And to me, it should be maximizing those things. So how do you get Miles Turner back out there and try to get him in a groove, frankly, going into the next season, because that has not gone as well as anyone would have liked this year.
That was exactly where I was going to go next. Eric Name joining us here on the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon. Miles Turner, by most metrics, I would think that, especially around the NBA, would qualify this as a bust of a free agent signing. The last 3 years with the Pacers, averaging 18, 17, 15 and a half, averaging 12.2 points per game with the Bucks. Overall rebounds the last 3 years, 7.5, 6.9, 6.5. He's down a full rebound to 5.4 this year, shooting 44% from the floor, which would be a career worst. Although his 3-point shooting at 38% is actually pretty good, especially for a center. When you look at Miles Turner's tenure so far in Milwaukee, How do you grade what he's done with Giannis on the court? How do you grade the fact that he hasn't been able to step up whatsoever when Giannis was out? And do you think there's any way they look to move off of Miles Turner in the offseason, knowing that there's probably not going to be a market for him?
I'll start with the last question. I think everything is going to be on the table as you try to figure out how to keep Giannis Antetokounmpo. But I will also say, if I have the biggest complaint I might have about what Doc Rivers has done this year, and I have many, because it hasn't been very good. They've been a terrible defensive team the entire season. They're only 21st in offense as well. There's a lot of complaints to be had, but one of the biggest ones to me has just been the usage of Miles Turner. I think last year in Indiana, he was one of the most dynamic rollers in pick and roll play in the entire league. And what I mean by that is he's someone that can mix it up. He can pop to the 3-point line. He's very good at that. He's been a spectacular mid-range shooter his entire career. And he's been able to get to the rim and roll all the way to the rim, and he can mix it up, and he can catch in the middle of the floor and make a play out of it, make a pass. And that was part of what made Indiana's attack so dynamic. And obviously it was, quarterbacked by Tyrese Halliburton, but the fact that Miles Turner could do so many different things is part of what made that offense so dynamic. And this year, overwhelmingly, if he's in pick and rolls, he's told to just pop. He almost never rolls to the rim. Since we've seen Jericho Sims play more than him, they just tell Jericho, roll to the rim, roll the rim, roll the rim, try to catch lobs. And again, I'm not trying to disparage Jericho Sims, but I think if you ask Miles Turner to do only that, he could do that. But that's not what they asked him to do. They asked him to pop. And when he plays with Jericho Sims, sometimes they put him in the corner. And they really just turned him into a spot-up 3-point shooter. And to Miles' credit, he's knocked down a whole bunch of threes, and he's shot the three at near career high rate. And as far as frequency and accuracy, but the rest of his game just hasn't been utilized. And, I think without Giannis, he's never been a one-on-one guy. He's never been the offensive engine. This was not going to turn into Miles Turner's show when Giannis went down, because that's just not the type of player that he is. But that wouldn't even be my biggest concern. My biggest concern would be the coach doesn't seem to have any interest in using him in the ways that make him an elite player. They've just kind of stuck him in the corner and behind the 3-point line and told him to shoot threes. And I think there's a lot more to his game, and the Bucks just really haven't explored any of it this season outside of the first month of the season. That there was, in the middle of training camp and, the first 8-10 games of the year, it was Miles, the most selfless player we have on the team. He's a great cutter. He has incredible IQ. He's opening all these things up for us because he's so dynamic and he's so good at all these things. And then Giannis suffered his first injury, and it was like, all right, Miles is going to sit in the corner now. And that was it. And to me, overwhelmingly, from my perspective, my opinion, the Bucks may feel differently about it, but my opinion is the coach hasn't gotten enough out of him and hasn't gone out of his way to make sure that this guy who you signed is being leveraged and used in the right ways. And that to me would, again, maybe that means, all right, well, whatever, this guy's just not going to use him. It's time to get rid of him. But I think you have to be thinking about, okay, well, if we bring in a different coach, could that coach use Miles Turner in a better way? And I think you'd have to believe that a different coach would do a better job of that.
Eric Name of The Athletic joining us here on the Mason Crosby Show. Eric, I'll ask you in maybe a more positive light of this conversation, how much are you buying into the backcourt of Ryan Rollins and Kevin Porter Jr.? Maybe not just for the rest of this year, but heading into next season.
Yeah, I think if you're going through the roster and trying to figure out what maybe did go right this season, I think it's probably those two guys. Those guys have produced in ways that the Bucks could have only hoped before the season. they had kind of decided to go in a different direction at point guard, 2 young guys, and they're hoping one of them hit, and both of them hit, which I think is really exciting for the organization, like to have wins like that, where you can go out there and get these new players and get them into your system and show that you can make it work with them. So I think it's very exciting. I think, you look at Ryan Rollins' contract next year is guaranteed at $4 million. That's probably, if not the best contract in the league, one of the best contracts in the league, just kind of looking at what he can do on both sides of the floor, 3-level scorer. I think they're working on his playmaking to try to turn him into more of a point guard, but also I think overwhelmingly over the years, we've seen that Giannis doesn't necessarily need a true point guard. And I think you saw that right away the other night when Giannis was back in the starting lineup and Ryan was there with him. Sure, there were some turnovers as Ryan is still trying to figure out how to take care of the ball when he's got the ball in his hands so much. But I thought overwhelmingly the other night against the Jazz, he was getting off the ball and letting Giannis do his thing. And then back in that role that I think he was so good at in the first 20 games of the season, playing alongside Giannis, where he's scoring, he's making some plays, he's doing things in the 2-man game with Giannis, but he doesn't have to run the whole team and run the whole show. He can kind of play off of Giannis. I thought that was great. And Kevin Porter Jr., frankly, his style might not be the best. I think he's prone to over dribbling. And that's something that Doc Rivers has talked about throughout the season. But I think it's tough to deny the numbers that he's put up. He's been really strong this year. I think the only potential problem there is that I think when you look at the things that have maybe gone right, or the players, the young core players that you've developed, is, you have 2 guys that are point guards, and there's only 48 minutes in a game. And I think if you want one of them to succeed, they're going to have to play 30 to 35 minutes. And that only leaves, another 18 minutes for the other guy. And we've seen pretty overwhelmingly this year that they don't work all that well together at the same time. There's been fits and starts of it actually working a little bit better, in the last month or so. But overall, it hasn't really worked out that well. So it's a bit of a logjam with those 2, let's say, at point guard.
Right.
But overwhelmingly, the fact that you hit on 2 guys that are on cheap contracts and people weren't expecting anything out of is an overwhelming positive from this season that, has at times been a struggle to find anything that has gone well.
Eric, do you have a single sheet of paper, or do you have a full notebook full of names to replace Doc Rivers as head coach of the Milwaukee Bucks? Are we really looking at, the end of the regular season happens, he does or does not get elected into the Hall of Fame, he retires and goes off into the sunset? Is there a chance he wants to come back next year? Is there a chance ownership wants him back next year? And if not, what direction could the Bucks go in?
Yeah, I mean, to try to answer a number of those things, there's been no indication from ownership at this point that they are interested in getting rid of Doc Rivers. Obviously, I think I've said throughout the year, there's been a number of fireable offenses for, I think, what the previous standard of the Milwaukee Bucks was. Like, some of these games that they've lost by huge numbers, the losing streaks that they've gone on, all those things would have been fireable offenses for the head coach of the Milwaukee Bucks over the last 7 or 8 years. And that hasn't happened thus far this year. So ownership has not shown any indication that they are interested in getting rid of Doc. Doc is, I shouldn't even say it's just Doc. Like, any human being that is going to be paid millions of dollars is not going to willingly give up millions of dollars. So I wouldn't expect that Doc is going to retire. When we asked him about the rumor that Stephen A. Smith had put out, he had said, it might look like Stephen A. thinks I need to retire, but that's not for me. So I don't have any indication from Doc that he is planning to retire this offseason. As far as do I think there are other coaches that could do a better job than Doc this season? Yes, you are correct. It is a long list. I don't think he's done a very good job this season. I don't think the things that need to be maximized have been maximized. They've been a terrible defensive team. They give up more threes than anyone. Teams shoot better at the rim than against the Bucks and almost any other team in the league, and they shoot at the rim quite a bit. There's just nothing really redeemable going on the defensive end with the Milwaukee Bucks. And then offensively, I thought at the start of the season, they had a pretty good idea of how to build this thing around Giannis. And as the season's gone along, they've kind of teared away at that. And, every time Giannis has come back from an injury, he has kind of reminded the coaching staff and all the reporters that he would like to be playing point. He would like to be on the ball more. And throughout all of this, Doc has continued to have him be more of a screener and not get him the ball quite as much. And that has been a point of contention for Giannis in, just about every post game he's done since returning from the first injury that he had this season. That's been a real problem. So, yeah, I don't think Doc has done the job. I think there's a long list of guys that could do a better job, but we will have to see if that is what ownership feels. I don't. At this point, they've not made a move, but we'll see if that stance changes once we get to the end of the season.
So, Eric, as we wrap things up here, we do have, I think it's 19 games left, and is there? You mentioned all the things to look for. All the things, watch the combinations, watch what's happening. Are we going to see what you think the Bucks should do over the last 19? Are we going to see that on the court? Are we going to see the right combinations? Are we going to see planning for 26, 27? Or are we, and is it going to translate into just more 30-point losses, but team bonding? Or is there anything like as a fan, what am I excited about with what this team could be next year?
I would say thus far, there's not been any real indication that we're going to see the things that I laid out and what I would be looking for. Miles Turner has been playing significantly less since the All-Star break.
Yep.
Jericho Sims has been closing games instead of him, which again, Jericho Sims is a young player, and the Bucks have done well to develop more out of him. But personally, I would probably make sure that the second highest paid player on the team is emphasized in the offense as opposed to de-emphasized in the offense. So there's been little indication thus far that those things that I laid out are actually going to happen to close the season. As far as what there is to look forward to in 26, 27, I think we kind of went through them all, right?
Yep.
What does Ryan Rollins look like? Can they get AJ Green going? Is Ousmane Dieng going to continue to figure out more and more things? And then Giannis. Watching Giannis is always something that you should enjoy and watch. And that is a thing that you can be excited about in 26, 27 is hopefully having a better team around Giannis. And that would be, to me, what you can kind of look forward to as the season closes.
All right, Eric, we got plenty more to get to as things get to the end of the season, what the draft is going to look like, what free agency might look like, and especially Giannis watch, which will, again, come into full front of mind and top of mind as we get towards the end of the season. So I'm sure we will bother you again at the end of the season and your predictions about what uniform Giannis will be wearing at the beginning of the 26-27 season. But for now, Eric, enjoy. Thank you so much for jumping on, and we loved having you on the show.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All right, Eric, named The Athletic. Follow him on all the socials. Joining us on the guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law 1 Call. That's all. We will wrap things up coming up on the Mason Crosby Show. This is the Mason Crosby Show. Our thanks to Eric Name for jumping on the show, talking some Bucks basketball, what he'd like to see, not necessarily what actually will happen. I think that's the way. Romeo Dobbs, 4 years, $80 million is now the reported deal for Romeo Dobbs and the New England Patriots. Is that a little bit of an overpay there, Tommy?
Good for him.
Absolutely good for him. Like, you go get your bag, right?
Get your bag.
Yep. Rasheed Walker, you're up, buddy.
Is he going to get more than Romeo Dobbs?
I don't think so. After what the kid from the Colts got to go to the Texans, I don't think so. I think for whatever reason, offensive line isn't getting what we thought. Wisconsin Sports Daily is coming up next. Noah Kowski's going to be on. Mike Wall's going to be on. Sparky's got a packed show, so don't go anywhere. He's Tommy Wirtz. I'm Mitch Nellis. We are the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of our Green Bay Packers.